Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, but as usual, stuff happens. I've just been very busy working on some other projects. But in any event, I just want to jump back on here because, whoo, child, the streets are hot. If it ain't Liv over there on Love Live acting up, my Jazzy being boring, Wineglass apparently has a new relationship, and all the other mess that's going on out here on these mommy streets. Wineglass supposed to go live tomorrow, so I can't wait to dive into that. But the main event for me is what's going on with Marissa, aka West Indie Collection, aka Vibing in Real Time, aka Wick. Take your pick, okay? She went live this morning and she spilled the beans on herself as usual. And she also shed some light on what's going on with her and Will behind the scenes because, as we all suspected, they have been talking. And this is the main reason why people think they are in cahoots. Now, I will say this. I had a sense that Will is playing the long game. He's playing along to get along. And there were a couple of things that kind of led me to that conclusion. First off, I know a few months ago when she first came out saying that she was pregnant in one of his lives, people were telling him that he needed to pursue custody of this child, and I was one of them. I speculated in other people's lives. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm not saying I'm the original thought here, so don't get it twisted. So no one get in their feelings about what I'm going to say, because I hate when I run across content creators that do this, when it's a well-known opinion, it's a widely held opinion. But I always felt like Will was going to pursue this legally, even though he was saying otherwise. But we also know that West India is not the sharpest tool in the box, okay? And it's easy for stuff like this to go over her head, even when people are trying to tell her this is what he's doing or this is what we suspect he's doing. So, keep a third eye out for this. She refuses to listen. And if you don't believe me, just go into any one of her lives that she has up. People are giving her good advice. You may not see their comments anymore because she's deleted them and blocked them or cursed them out. But people have been trying to tell her all along what's up. But in her head, Melissa, Marissa really is striving, and she's really wanting this happy, wholesome family. So you can't tell her anything different. She's stuck on stupid. I don't know how else to say it. I can be as kind as I want to, but it really doesn't make a difference. And to be honest, this is her life. But the thing is, she's displaying it out here for everyone to see. Both her and Will. He's not innocent. I've said this time and time again. They are equally yoked. They are equally manipulative. They're equally narcissistic. And they are, two sides of the same coin. I'm not taking one person's side over the other. But when logic enters the picture or the facts present themselves, sometimes you just can't argue with those. So, Will being the father of this child, she said it, he said it, and they've both been adamant about it. He does have rights. West Indy wants them to be a package deal. Again, people have told her it's not always like that, sis. But her frame of reference is dealing with her oldest son's father and her middle son's father. They have not been present. Thomas's dad, Momo's dad are not present in their children's life for various reasons. One, Momo's dad, he's ducking and dodging and bobbing and weaving like a ninja. I think I put it in somebody's chat. I said he's making moves like a young YN out here on the streets. He's dodging her. Thomas's father, I do believe he wants to be involved, but he lives in a different state, and he's just not pursuing it. And I personally don't think that's an excuse, but it is what it is. And if you've been following Marissa, you know that she can make things difficult. So Will knew what he was up against. I still don't understand why this man went and procreated with her, but he has 5 other baby mamas. I suspect he believes that he is salting the earth, or in other words, bearing or putting his seed out there to bear fruit for his legacy. I don't know. Again, he's a narcissist. So when you're dealing with a narcissistic personality, and a shout out to Pineapples, she's a reactor in the mommy sector. Narcissists believe that the world revolves around them, and every move that they make, and every move that other people make in relation to them, it's all about them. So right now we have two planets colliding and it's a big mess. So I'm going to go ahead and play the first part. We'll see. I think it's like the first half hour, maybe 40 minutes. I'll go through Marissa's video this morning. So this is going to be quite a bit of a long video. Hopefully not too long. I'll try to limit my interruptions. But what I did, I took it a step further. Since Will has filed custody, if you didn't know, spoiler alert, he's filed for joint custody and basically legitimization. And I went on a seek and find mission and I found those legal documents. Now, because they have some information that needs to be redacted and also some information that Will has not shared, I don't think publicly, for example, like his last name. Um, there's other things in these documents that have been revealed, like his place of employment. Everybody, I believe, knows that he works for Panera Bread, but the exact location, how much he makes, where he lives, how much rent he pays, what his car payments are, what his child support are, all those, all that information is in the documents. Okay, and I just am not in the business of, I guess you could say, doxing people in that way. So I know that he refers to himself as Will. I am the people's champ, Mr. Let Him Cook. I never heard him use his last name. If you have heard him use his last name, just do me a solid in the comments. Please don't put it in the comments because I just feel like it's not really necessary at this point. If you are curious, you can go out and find this information yourself. It's public record. It was very revealing. So what I did is I basically consulted with my legal team, which is part of the Gemini family, uh, which is a Google product, and I had them break down the documents that were filed. So as we watch, or as I react to Marissa's video today, I'll kind of give you some insight and some background information, and then afterwards, I'm going to edit that audio markup that I got on the legal documents. I'm going to edit them to redact some information, and it's kind of added on so that you get a fuller context of what's going on. So I'm not going to hold you. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into her video. Just give me a moment to get that set up, and we'll get it popping. Good morning. Tap in, join my live, because I got something I want to speak on. This is some crazy ass shit. Let me know if you guys can hear me and like this video. Let's get some likes. I'm just now getting myself together. So I'm about to get me a cup of coffee, but definitely like the video. Like. If you don't like it, I'm going to off the top think that you're not here as a supporter. You're just here to watch me, to be nosy. If you are here for me, like the video. It's a new day, and I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to keep it real. And this is just some crazy shit. If this ain't manipulation, a way for somebody to use somebody, some narcissistic type shit, I don't know what you guys would call this. But this is going to be the exact shit I am talking about. That I'm not the problem. But this just shows you how a person wants to play fucking games and do shit out of evilness.
out of evilness. Comment if you guys can hear me because sometimes I don't know if my thing connects. Sometimes it connects to my phone to where I have to refresh the live because if you guys won't be able to hear me. So comment, somebody comment. If you're a supporter, comment. But this all happened less than 24 hours, you guys. And again, if this is not manipulation, I don't know what is. The only way for me to explain my story or explain this situation is if people are engaging with me. If you're just going to be here just to watch me, then I'm not going to know based off what you guys think. If you guys are just watching me, you guys are not commenting, back off what I'm saying. So if you're a supporter, this is something I would like you to participate in to so y'all could like relate or whatever the case may be. But this is the only way, or else I'm just gonna be talking just to be talking. Okay, good. You can hear me. That's a good sign. So while you guys are tuning in, like the video. If you are one of my supporters, definitely comment, show some love in the chat. While I just brew up some coffee, just give me 1 second. I literally just got out of bed, brushed my teeth. I threw this on just to be on live. I plan on being on live probably throughout the whole day. Like I'm just chilling today, but definitely support me. So the moment I make my coffee, I'll come back in, I'll get started, but definitely tune in and make sure you guys are liking this video and commenting as well. I need to see more comments though. If you're a supporter of mine or whatever, comment, I'll be right back.
Okay, while she's doing that, she cracks me up talking about comment if you're a supporter. If you support her or not support her, she's so rude and nasty to her chat. That's why she gets almost zero engagement. But the star of the
Okay,
show
I
is
got 7
back.
likes. I need way more likes than that.
You only got 7 likes
Thank you so
because
much.
you're
It was a
rude.
beautiful day yesterday. I didn't really like the fact we left out so late in the day, but it was a beautiful day. But I'll talk more about that as well. And before we get into what I really want to talk about, I'm going to speak on 2 things that I screenshotted as well. I mean, why not? The coffee's almost done. Just brewing. It's coming out the machine now, and I'm just going to put my creamer, and then we'll get into it. But let me go to my screenshots. And I'm going to call out some names. So if this heifer is still watching me, because she clearly is watching me every time I go live. Her name is Sunny Hell 1477. She commented not on my page, on his. She had the baby in the Journey A bathroom by the toilet. Like, how uncloth is that? I know she low key wished he was around because having a baby is very hectic. There's nothing wrong. First of all, y'all must not know how bathrooms can be. Because if you was in the mansions,
First of all, the comment read, she has that baby in a germy bathroom, and how uncouth is that? But if you've been watching Marissa, you know she has a hard time with pronouncing words, and I just think a basic understanding or literacy for the English language. This is not AAVE. This is not even quote unquote ebonics. This is just that she's just sometimes does not know how to say words. I'm sorry. I'm starting to sound like her. Instead of saying say, or she says, okay, in other words, she says, this person says instead of this person says. You'll catch on if you haven't been a watcher of hers that she mispronounces words, easy words, often, and I guess she never heard of uncouth. I can kind of get that, but Jeremy, I don't. Anyway, let's let her cook, as Mister Let Him Cook would say.
some bathrooms look like fucking rooms, okay? And this is kind of a mini version of that. The bathroom is separated, weirdo. There's a whole door that disconnects the bathroom from the main part of the bathroom. This bathroom is big enough, you could probably have a couple things up in this joint. It's not like my baby's an actual bathroom where the toilet and the tub is. It's separated. So the fuck what? My baby ain't touching nothing. I clean my bathroom. So what? It's not your house, home, whatever. My baby is wrapped. It don't even matter. My baby is Gucci. Mind your business, weirdo. You just want to talk about. You just want to find any little thing to talk about. You're weird. And then this person. No, this is the other person. And then there's another person at Just Living Life 2026. This hater, clearly by the username 2026, they just created the profile in January. That tells you that they're a hater. They must have been blocked or whatever the case may be. You're lurking. You are lurking. Like you got like on those binoculars. Telling him to go to court with your concerns about Marissa if you believe she is unfit or unwell, which I'm neither. If he does that, he's evil. We're going to get into it. Continue to pressure her may add unnecessary stress. I'm going to skip that. We all know who she is. This is the thing that gets me. We all know who she is. And as a man of God, you are held to a higher standard. I'm not going to read the rest. It's just a scripture. Who am I? Tell me. Who the hell am I? Because I know who I am. What you mean? We all know who she is. What is that supposed to mean? Who am I? Because you want to paint me in a bad picture, because you don't like me, because you're jealous, you're a hater, because you listen to other people. Who are you? But clearly you're a weirdo if you went all out of your way to create a whole new channel just to do the same thing, to stalk. These are literally people I do not know, you guys. That's the thing that's mind-blowing. How do these people that don't know a damn thing about you got so much to say? Like, it doesn't bother me, but it's just the fact that people, like when they say things like, go back to when they say things like, we all know who she is. Who am I? What do you have of me? Like, people are so weird. Hey, boo, I texted you. I wanted to call you, but I figured you probably will hop on anyway. Let me go grab my coffee, and I need you to, yeah. Or you could text me. Give me a second. I'm gonna hop right into it now. Now that Claire will share the little screenshots. Let me get my coffee. Hold on.
So apparently, this person she's talking to in the chat, and I don't have the chat pulled up right now because I have it on full screen. But supposedly, she supposedly has a supporter who she's been, I guess, working with to see if she could stay with this particular person. It's weird, but as usual, she's not the only one that does this. These mommies get out here and they share all their business and they act surprised. Hold on. They act surprised that people cast judgment on them. They tell a lot of their business. And then she says they're a stalker, they're creepy. Then what is she? Because she is going onto Will's page. She's going through his comments. She's pulling up their profiles, checking when their start date to YouTube, is sorry, their start date on YouTube is for their particular channel, and she's calling that out and saying that they're making fake pages. Um, Also, this dress is horrendous. I don't know. In editing, I'll probably blur out her chest, but you may not see it. But she's literally falling out of this dress. But this is typical Marissa. She's frazzled right now, and it was a hot mess when I started watching this and listening to her, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And I'm actually surprised it's staying up in light of what's going on. But again, we'll get into it, and she's going to get into it.
I think I hear the baby. And if he starts getting up, it's going to distract me. So hopefully he's not up. Yay. Okay, let's hop right into it. Hopefully I don't get so frustrated to the point where I want to start crying. But we're not going to try to do that. But this is how I know this is a narcissist and a manipulation that I'm going through right now. And I'm going to keep it real. I know y'all going to judge me, but at least I'm being honest. This all happened within 24 hours. All my prior life, remember when I was mentioning how he went to see his son on Saturday? Boom. And then we got into an argument because he said, oh, you want to play this game? Or the ball, or we could get the ball, or we could play the game. Something, trying to be smart. So we basically bumped heads. And guess what, though? Later that night, let me sip some coffee. And I have proof. And this is proof I could show to a judge. Because I'm tired of this shit. I'm the one being the good person here. And he's using these evil people on their internet. He's moving like a fucking snake, y'all. A snake. This is why you gotta watch who you have kids with. I'm tired of being so fucking nice. I'm so fucking real and genuine. All I ever wanted to do was have a calm, fucking just communicate the right way with this person. Guess what he fucking did, y'all? And tell me if this ain't manipulation. We gonna get into it. So, since he wanna fucking keep playing being a narcissist, I'm airing this shit out too. That same day, right? He texts me. He's like, I'm coming over tonight to see my son. Right? I'm obviously saying, hold on. Because he's the type of person, he'll force his way on me. Like, he won't accept no. He'll keep trying to, like, pressure me. He's a pressure. So, let me go to it.
I just want to pause right here because I want you to pay attention to these dates. So she's saying that he texted her. Now she will. I think I might be getting ahead, but this would have been Friday night, Saturday morning. So 10th, 11th, whatever day you choose to call it. Even though technically after midnight it would be the 11th, Saturday. So this all started Friday night. Him texting her. So keep these dates in mind.
So he said, I'm coming to spend, this was at 7:48 p.m. on Friday. I'm coming to spend time with my son later with the heart. I didn't say nothing back right away because I just peeped it like, I just told him we have to meet in a public place. Why is he texting me late at night? He was at work, mind you, telling me that when I just tried to set boundaries with him. I didn't text him back quick enough, right? Because if I don't respond back quick enough, he'll then send me another message. So he sent me the heart eyes. I mean, not heart eyes, the eyeballs. I said, I thought you said tomorrow, which was Saturday. You don't listen. Okay? I got the proof, y'all. He said, it will technically be tomorrow when I get there. I said, you want to see him at night? He goes, unless then he brings up Craig or whatever. Trying to just be, trying to be funny. And they're going to be like, so he must be spending the night. I just ignored that. And then he then goes to my other text. I said, when about you want to see him tonight? He goes, is that a problem with the emojis, like the up eyeballs emojis? And then I said, yes, it is. You don't respect your child's mother, but you want to see him at night. He goes, I want to see you too, with the smiley face. Manipulation, y'all. I said, yeah, right. He goes, you need your meds as the doctor prescribed. Me and him talk like that when we're having intercourse. We talk like that. So off top, when he said that, I'm like, here we fucking go again. Like, this is a repeated cycle. He uses his flirtatious ways or whatever to try to get to me. And he knows I just had the baby. You know that you're technically not supposed to have sex till 6 weeks. I'm technically 4 weeks pregnant. No, this is not even funny because I'm literally like, I'm trying to be sure on right.
You know what's funny about this? Excuse me, I'm sorry about that, you guys. But I had made a comment on, I don't know whose chat it was, um, but I made a comment that she just had a baby. She's postpartum. They can't knock boots, basically. So Will isn't interested because honestly, the only thing that she's good for to Will is to sleep with, to have coitus with. I'm trying to be uh, censor worthy here. That's why I'm using these type of words. But basically, the reason why they ain't screwing, or rather he ain't around her, is because he can't screw her, and she's an easy screw. He just sees her as a vessel. Now there's an added layer that he had a baby with her, again for God knows what reason other than just being an idiot narcissist. I mean, there's something to being a dumb narcissist or being stupid, a stupid narcissist, or in Marissa's case, a intellectually challenged narcissist. They are taking it to different levels, but I had a sense that was one of the reasons why he was staying away, because can you imagine them just hanging out? That's why Will just wanted to take the baby and go about his business. He didn't want to be around her, but he calls her in the midnight hour talking sweet to her. And their foreplay, medicine. Did your doctor prescribe your medicine? Did you take the medicine the doctor prescribed to you? I guess that medicine is his peen. That's the way they flirt. And apparently, she's feeling some type of way. She probably had some of that margarita that she's been into, and she's lonely because she only has the kids. I mean, if you watch any of her lives leading up to this woman is just bursting at the seams. She's trying to contain it. I'm not saying that she's suffering from like postpartum depression because she acted like this before she even got pregnant. But she wants to be outside, like she says. And she's caged up. It's not working out like she wanted it to. She thought Will was going to be at her feet with this baby, and it's not happening the way that she envisioned, even though we all tried to warn her. And the biggest warning came from her own mama, which she ignored.
Yeah. So I said, when you constantly lie on me, the meds comes with side effects. That's what I said. He said, so you need your meds with the plant emoji. I'm sorry y'all from again, but I'm keeping it real with y'all so y'all can know how he moves. The y'all haters get on the internet trying to praise this motherfucker and be on his side, but look how he's talking to me. So y'all approve of this? When I'm trying to be the one setting healthy boundaries, y'all can't say I'm the problem. Can't say I'm the problem. I said I don't need no meds if it comes with side effects. He said, LOL, yes you do. Why are you acting up now? And then he texts me around 1:50 a.m. saying, hey. And I just said, I just woke up. He said, you want me to come or not? He always used that too, like as a way to like, it's like an ego thing. I feel like when he always says that. And I said, what you mean? You said you want to see Wizzy. And he said, I was just asking. I'm about to shower real quick and be on my way. I just said, K. So already I gave in to him, y'all. I gave in to him. Instead of being strict on that boundary, I kind of like, because I'm not going to lie, in the process of that, I was thinking about it like, if I was to have sex, is it okay? Should I do this? Should I not do this? I already know if he comes over, he's going to have sex with me. Like, all those thoughts was running through my head, you guys. All those thoughts. Because I haven't had, sex since I gave birth. Like, but I know that if he did come over, I know he's going to obviously try to have sex. You know what I mean? Like, all those thoughts was coming through my head. So, long story short, he came over. Boom, he came over. And I'm not going to lie, we did have intercourse. Multiple times.
Did we need to
So,
know
and I
that?
feel fine, by the way. In 4 weeks, I even
The
was
multiple
Googling. I even had
times
to Google,
part.
should I be okay? Or is somebody okay if you have sex? It's really down to your body, if it's healed, if I feel emotionally to do it. And I feel like I felt fine. I haven't bled or anything. I kind of been stopped bleeding.
I wish she stopped acting like this is her first go around. I mean, you would think that she did not have two older kids, and we all know how Marissa gets down. If you don't know, again, you can go in some places on the internet and find out exactly how this chick gets down. 4 weeks, she was waiting for 4 weeks, and for all we know, she was letting him know, signaling to him that she was hot and ready, just like a Little Caesar's pizza. So I don't know why she's perpetrating like she had to do all this deep research and had all these conflicting emotions. Girl, please stop it.
So I feel fine. Like, I feel like the same, actually. Like, I didn't feel different down there. So we get it. We had intercourse. He spends time with, he stays tonight. Saturday he's off from work. So he sleeps, whatever. So eventually I had plans to go out with the kids. I was vlogging, right? The vlog. And I asked him, I was like, do you want to come with us? I even invited his children. He's like, oh, they're not going to want to come. They're teenagers. Blowing it off. It was like he was blowing it off. You can't say I didn't try to invite your children out on a beautiful day to bond with their brother. Boom. So, so basically, he just came with us. Mind you, the way he was talking, though, he made it seem like he was talking about Sunday. Well, on Sunday, I gotta go pick up my vehicle, and then I have work later on Sunday. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, he planned on staying the day with us, maybe staying the night again, and then he will be leaving early morning on Sunday. I guess, and he did tell me that he had to pick up his car on Sunday morning, and he did tell me that he had work later, basically today. Boom. But I don't know. For some reason, I probably misunderstood it just a little bit. I thought like we were gonna go out during the day because it was already late when we left. It was like 6 something by the time we even got to where we were going. So I'm thinking, oh, after we leave from there, we're coming back here to my place, have maybe cook a dinner, and he's staying the night again, and then he'll just leave it early morning. That's I don't know. That's just kind of what I thought. Like I said, I probably just misunderstood. However, we so he came with us. He came with us to the park. Well, he came with us on to the Beltline, and everything went good. Like I'm such a kind person. Even when he's around, I am so kind. I let him bond with Wizzy. Like we don't like we haven't argued. Like it's nothing. Like it's just regular stuff. Like and then when we go to the Beltline, same thing. Like I treated us. I got us things to eat. We
Okay, pause. Couple of things. Number one, I watched her live before she went to the belt line. I knew she was getting ready. She did a get ready with me where she was putting on makeup and was saying that it was a nice day. She woke up to a beautiful day and it was gorgeous. And they're moving kind of slow. And she's making this big, beautiful breakfast with waffles, I believe. Anyway, she talked about going to the Beltline, and then later on, I noticed that she dropped a video, and it wasn't that long, so I skimmed through it. I kind of watched it. You know, her content is rather boring, if you ask me. She does a lot of filler content, but she was showing her and the kids walking the Beltline and going to Kroger's and getting food and having a little, family time. And I thought, honestly, at least she gets outside. I still think it's too young for that baby to be out on the bus and all that other stuff. And I think, I don't know. I can't. The time she goes live so much, but I caught a couple of things. Number one, she never alluded to the fact that Will was there when she was live, so we didn't know that Will was somewhere chilling. I guess that's why she didn't have the baby, and she had time to do the things that she was doing. Because usually, she has to go get Wizzy and all that good stuff. And also, she said that maybe she says it in this live, but apparently Atlanta, because they're doing a lot of, I guess, stuff to the infrastructure, that they had free fare, so she didn't have to pay, I guess, the bus fare to get to the Beltline. And now I know that Will was going. He wasn't paying for the transportation, and he didn't have his transportation. Side note, I believe it's on the live that he has up, the most current live that Will has up on his channel, I Am the People's Champ, if you don't know. He's talking about Wizzy being born, and somebody asked him why wasn't he there, and he said it's because he had to wait for his Uber because he had the car was his car was being leased out through Turo. He leases his car out or rents his car out for income on Turo. Now stick a pin in that because that's important as this moves along. So anyway, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, so that's why I really want to put a pin in that. Hopefully, I won't forget. But anyway, I'll just probably write it down real quick. So he was without transportation. I'm wondering how he got there at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever time he showed up. I guess he Ubered. Who knows? She probably even paid for it. She's not going to tell that part. But she was hiding Will this whole time. She was hiding him. This was a family day. And it goes to prove it. It just basically proves what Will has been saying, because Will has been wanting to spend time with Wizzy without her. And she's made a stipulation that they have to do it together. So I guess his need to see his son, which I believe that Will really wants to connect and bond with this child. I know men like Will. They don't want the financial burden, but they do want everything else that goes along, all the amenities that goes along with being a daddy, being praised for being a quote unquote good black father, and also being able to hit up the baby mama, not just for money, but for a little bit of tail. So I guess if you combine all those things, I'm not shocked that this happens, and this is their history anyway. This is not the first time she's lent him money. She has a video up that shows that she lent him $300. This is back when he was moving into the condo. And this was a time, too, where she thought that her and the kids were going to be able to move in with him. And this was maybe about 2 years ago. She thought that she was going to be able to move in with him. She gave him $300. It was around tax time. He never paid her back. It's just like the $600. So I'm absolutely not surprised, and I'm pretty sure any of you who are familiar with this whole saga, you're not surprised either that this is how it's playing out. So that's the thing that really struck me, is that when I watched that Beltline actual video, I didn't see hide nor hair, and I didn't pick up on any cues that he was with her. I am going to go back and rewatch it just to see if I can, figure that all out. But yeah, I just found that interesting too. And then the last thing is that she said that she paid for everything. So she paid for the food and whatever else kind of entertainment they did. But earlier on the live that I was referring to, where she was going to cook the big beautiful breakfast and the get ready with, no, it was the big beautiful breakfast, that she was asking for money for coffee, because she put in an Instacart order and she only ordered the creamer, and she forgot to get, well, she said the coffee pots. I think she meant coffee pods. Maybe, who knows with her. Like I said, she uses words incorrectly. But she was asking for people to cash up her $10 so she can get coffee. Yet she turns around, heads to the Beltline. She was leading people to believe that this was a free excursion. And if you, again, kept track of her, she does do that. She will take advantage of free events and take her kids out. So I was just thinking that it was a maybe bus fare. She didn't want to spend the bus fare on the coffee, and they were just going to go down to the Beltline for a little bit, have family time. But all along, she was carrying Will on her back. So Marissa was having her little family fantasy, knowing who Will is, knowing who this Joker is. And now here she is. If you look at this freeze frame, she's on live looking like Boo Boo's a fool. You can't make this stuff up.
He chilled for a little bit. He did act like, because it was dark at that point when we were there too. So he was like, we were like, it was getting chilly. I was like, okay, well we can get ready to go back home, and basically, I could tell, not like he was trying to rush leaving, but I could tell he was trying to like gather us together to leave. So in my mind, he has intentions all along, but just continue to hear me out. But so while we're there at the party, and I'm gonna look at the comments too if you guys are commenting. Make sure to like the video. I have 104 people. I gotta drink that though because it will get cold quick. So while we're at the park, here I am being a mature adult, right? And I go, now obviously me having sex with him, that didn't justify me thinking, oh, we're together or anything. No, I never even thought that. It didn't even crossed my mind. I just was respecting it. I took this situation as is. It just was going with the flow. I was just going with the flow, y'all. I wasn't expecting, like, I wasn't, because I know how he operates. So I wasn't really trying to, like, you know what I mean? I was just going with the flow, whether I was enjoying the moment, whatever. So back to the belt line. While we're out, it was dark, mind you, at this time, and I brought up, just trying, and I brought it up in a calm way. I didn't want to make it sound away. I was just trying to say it as calm, but as adultish as possible. I said, so, um, if I was gonna have a place to stay, right, and given if we're not together, right, would you mind if we like probably stay with you, like maybe for just a little bit until I transition out of your place somewhere? You know, I was like, think of it like a pit stop. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't have to be long, just something where we're not on the streets or me not having a place to go. It would just be like a pit stop. And then whenever I say, for example, if I was to find a shelter or a hotel or if I was to be working, then we can leave. So I was trying to be mature at least just to see where his mind was at.
Okay, let me pause it here, because Will may be foolish. He may make foolish choices. But just like Marissa, this is not his first go around on the merry-go-round. This is not his first circus, okay? He knows what she's trying to do. She's been trying to move in with him since he's got that condo. Now, there's a couple of problems with this whole scenario that she's trying to, you know, conjure up in her head and try to make it seem logical. A pit stop. again, she uses terminology that doesn't fit. She could have just said a temporary place to stay, just a temporary situation until I get my housing together. No, she calls it a pit stop. But anyway, the problem with that is if he lets her move in and she can establish residency, in other words, get a piece of mail, have clothing there, have the kid's school address changed to his address, she's in that apartment. She may not be on the lease, which could be a problem for him too, because he would have to add her and the kids to the lease, and that's a whole issue that maybe that complex would not entertain, because I am assuming he has a 1 bedroom based off of just the things that he said and the information that I was able to pull from the legal documents, that he's in a 1 bedroom, and that is not enough for 3 kids and 2 adults, 5 people. That's just not enough. So you have that factor. She's establishing residency, and his lease may not allow for that if he does it legally. But the bigger problem is he can't just put her out once she establishes residency. He would have to go through the whole eviction process. And she's currently going through an eviction process with this apartment complex that has to pay a lot of money to get this achieved. It will be the same thing for him. He would have to go down to Fulton and do a dispossessory on her. And that could take months. So once she gets her foot in the door, it'll be hell trying to get her out. We already know that Marissa has no intentions of leaving if she can get a foothold in him. And then to take it a step further, if the apartment complex decides that they want her out, they're going to want him out too. So she will be jeopardizing his whole living situation. Now, if you've been out here in the real world, or even on these YouTube streets, these social media streets, these scenarios have been played out in front of us. I know of a particular couple, or their exes now, they're separated, they're in the midst of a divorce, where she left the family home, they separated, he got a new apartment, and she went off and had her a boyfriend, and even got pregnant by this guy. Unfortunately, the pregnancy, she didn't carry the pregnancy, she had a miscarriage. But anyway, they went their separate ways. But then they decided to, for a little bit, for the family, not necessarily get back together, but he let her come back. And I'm talking about, her name is Tanae and his name is Keontae. So, Tanae and Keontae. Some of you guys may be familiar with them. Tanae comes back to live with Keontae with her, at the time she had 4 kids. And she was pregnant again, and she was saying that the pregnancy was his and not the man that she had just left. She moved into his apartment. He let her come with the kids because he is legally her husband. He didn't want to see her and the kids out in the street. They didn't have any place to go. She filed DV charges on him. The cops came, and they are in Atlanta, and I believe they're in Fulton County too. Or they may be, I don't know, are they in Fulton or Clayton? I'm not sure, but they are in Atlanta. They're in Georgia. They put him out. He had to leave the home. Now, the apartment complex initiated an eviction because she wasn't paying rent, just like Marissa would do. And we all know how Marissa lives. She would tear that darn luxury apartment down to the bone. And the poor neighbors, dealing with Momo screaming, her screaming at Thomas, the baby crying. It would be a hot mess. So Will knows exactly what he's doing. That was never a part of the plan. And that's the reason why he was pushing this whole marriage narrative. Now, if you're not also aware, Will did an interview with Sheena. I think it's pronounced Sheena Speaks. And he did this interview on April 9th. That was a Thursday. And if you head over there, you can listen to it. It's no different than if you ever heard him come up on somebody else's panel or even on his own channel, how he talks. You know, he's a good guy. He's just trying to do the best he can. He's trying to co-parent. He's a man of God. He's trying to do everything the right way, blah, blah, blah. He paints a picture that he's the innocent in this whole scenario, but he has deleted lives where he has cussed and fussed and read her for filth. He's given up her personal information, talked down to her, talked nasty to her. He basically has said in so many words he doesn't want to be with her. And then this has happened even before she got pregnant. Then they'll flip the script on us and they'll be back together, happy home. And this is a pattern that happens between them and also their relationship with the people or the viewers, audience on the internet. They play these games. They're talking behind the scenes. He ain't got no money for her. He gonna let her hustle. He gonna let her beg every day. He's gonna let her have her GoFundMe for $10,000. He's gonna let her do all of that. And he's just gonna sit back in a cut and just peel off of what he can for her, whether it's money or sex. But yeah, these people are ridiculous. I'm gonna let her keep telling the story.
He'll just, like he always do, just gets quiet. He doesn't really know how to communicate. He just gets quiet. He'll look off. He was holding Wizzy, mind you, looking down at Wizzy, just like as if he heard me talking to him, but he wasn't responding. Right? He did that for a couple seconds. So it's like after like ask, like repeat myself or like tell him like hello, are you listening? Like hello, to try to get an answer, like some type of answer. He goes like looking all down. I don't know. I'm like, huh? Because I can barely hear him. He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, that's okay. Can you at least, would you like you have time to think about it? That's what I said. I said, I said, you can think about it. I'll give you some time to think about it. That's fine. Because, and I expressed to him, I said, because let's say if this don't work out, I don't want to be in this apartment and the rent keeps building up. So could you be like someone maybe we could just stay with just for a temp and that could like work out? Meaning it doesn't have to be months. It could be, for example, 2 weeks. It could be a month. Something to where I could like use, you have like be in your place just as a transition, He didn't say nothing besides, I don't know. Like he don't know how to communicate, you guys. So that's one communication I try to work with him because obviously he knows my kids. He's used to my kids. Like it's like almost as if like we're like probably family. You know what I mean at this point because it's not like we're strangers to him. So it's like it will only be right.
This is one hard headed chick. If he wanted her to live with him, now I just went over this whole scenario. She would have lived with him years ago when she first got out of the shelter. Okay? When he first secured that luxury apartment in the sky. I don't understand what part she's not getting. And I guess she thought the baby would be the secret sauce. That the baby would soften him up. And the eviction would soften him up with the idea that his baby could be out on the streets, or in other words, back in a shelter. But she just seemed. She's thick. People in their chat, reactors, even Will himself, has told her the fantasy that you have of having this family with this man is just that, a fantasy. You need to focus on getting your shit together, getting and securing a place for you and your kids. When she got her tax return, I don't know how much she got. She worked enough to get a decent return. This eviction is pending. I'm pretty sure she could have found something in all of Atlanta, I guess the metro Atlanta area that she could have moved into, even with the eviction pending. She would have had the money to, secure a deposit and maybe first month's rent. She may have had to put down a little bit extra on that deposit. Get her stuff packed up and moved. Yes, the eviction would still be something that's over her head, and yes, there would probably have been a judgment against her, but she would have had a place to stay. No, what she decided to do was to basically spend that money on photo shoots, on food, giving it to Will, and God knows what else. She just basically sat on her laurels. I don't know how much money she got. For all I know, she does have some money. I firmly believe that this video is a testament to the fact that she does have money. She's able to do what she wants when she wants to do it. Take the kids to the zoo, all that other good stuff. She puts on, even like I said before, she's not a good house manager. So for her to run out of groceries is just poor money management on her part or planning. Okay, so she could have a stack somewhere, but she wants to spend the people's money. Okay, she don't want to touch that because the reality is the closer she gets to her eviction date, she's going to have to move, and she doesn't want to go back into the shelter. But she's going to kick this can down the road because her ultimate goal is to move in with Will.
or something to consider if we didn't have this place anymore. And to be mature, yes, the arguing we argued a couple days, weeks ago about, and then we decided we were going to do it. But that was an argument. People can move past the argument. So I kind of like, I don't know, I was just trying to like just have a conversation with him when the kids were playing on the field. So that was all I got from him, you guys. Literally. So eventually we leave. We get to the station because he doesn't have his car right now. It was being rented out, I guess. We get to the station to where this is where he hits me sideways. Everything going good, mind you. He doesn't tell me anything, mind you. We get to the station. I kind of noticed something because when we came out the elevators, he reached in to kiss Lizzie, and then he said, "Y'all going that way, I'm going this way." And I'm like, "Huh?" Like, I was just confused. I'm like, "Huh? You're leaving us?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going home. I told you I have to be up early to get the car in the morning." I'm like, "Oh, I thought you was coming over." I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was coming over. I don't know. I just thought he was still coming over, you guys, and I thought he was coming over to obviously still spend. That would be perfect for him to still spend time with Lizzie. So, so I noticed too recently. I don't know if it's because I'm postpartum and I just after having a baby, but I do get emotional at times. So like, there's times when he'll be around, and sometimes certain things kind of like get me like, I don't know, like a sad feeling, but I get like this feeling like of like, I don't know if it'll be considered detachment or like if somebody's leaving me. I get like a feeling like a sad. I don't know how to explain it. Anywho, I kind of got that a little bit, but I just sucked it up. I was like, okay, he's going back home, fine. So we left. We got on our side, he got on his side, and then Tom was like, "Mom, what's the matter?" or something like that. He was like, because he left or whatever. And I was like, "No, he's just not coming with us. He's going home. I don't care." Because Thomas kept joking. Thomas is one of them kids. He's super playful, like him being a boy. So he kept messing with me, talking my ear off and stuff. And it was kind of like getting to me because I'm like, "Thomas, this is not the time right now." But anywho, so
So what she's saying right there is that she was upset. And Thomas, again, if you are familiar, I don't have to explain, but I know some of you, some people are coming from the mommy sector and may not be too familiar unless you watch Pineapples. And I believe that I don't know if anybody else has really dug into her besides Pineapple in the mommy sector. I know that Malish is starting to talk about her, but Thomas is her oldest, and Thomas is very mature for his age. I believe Thomas is 12, and he's a big kid. He's a man. When I say he's a big boy, he's a big boy. Just go watch her vlogs. But he's had to be the man of the house, and he is very protective of Marissa, which he should be. They have a history where she lost custody of him for a time. She got custody back of him, I want to say when he was 8, so it's probably about 4 years ago. She got custody back of him. She lost it for a period of time. But she's hard on this young man. But he's he's a good kid. And he looks out for Momo. Yeah, he can be a little rough with them, but he's a kid. He's a kid. And there's a lot of responsibility that's put on his back. He has to take a lot of I guess for lack of a better word, the verbal and sometimes physical abuse because of Marissa's frustration. So I think he was just trying to, make her feel better. He knows what's going on. He's of the age and of the maturity. He knows what's going on. And I don't think he cares too much for Will, which is rightly so. This man has been slinging his mama from left to right. Marissa's not innocent in this, but Marissa is his mama, so his loyalty is going to be to his mom. And she probably was fussing at him. You gotta watch her live to see how she talks to her kids. The meat and potatoes of how she talks to him has been taken down. She's deleted those live. I think I have a couple of clips of how she actually interacts with her kids, particularly Thomas, and now more so with Momo. This baby is just lined up to be treated the same way eventually. But in any event, she's trying to act so nonchalant, like, oh, well, I let him come over. I let him, you know, sleep with me, basically use me. And it was okay because the trade off was we got to act like a family. But the reality is setting in that, girl, he just made a fool out of you. That's basically what he did. You had this whole picture in your mind that you guys were going to spend this lovely weekend together, and that was the furthest from the truth, and you were disappointed. And now, in her defense, Will is very manipulative. I know that's the title of her video. She is manipulative too. That was the whole reason why he manipulated her, because she was manipulating his time with the baby. He can only spend time or visit the baby under her terms and within her presence. So he did what he had to do to get what he wanted. They both do the same thing. That's why I say they are equally yoked. So I can't really be on anybody's side. I'm just watching. I'm just watching and observing.
We're at the bus stop waiting at the, I mean, not bus stop, the train, and he's on the other side of the train. And I'm not like paying him no mind because I'm like, okay, he's going home, we're going home. Boom, cool. So I guess at the station, he did send me, I did had an incident, well, he texted me a picture of our son that I had basically sent him, and he said he looked like me, da, da, da. And I said, you think so? Da, da, da. He said, yeah, well, I said, well, his mama, he got the good looks from me, whatever. He said, so, okay, so he said, he looks like you in this picture to me with this. I said, you think so? He said, yeah, with the imagery with the eyeballs looking up. I said, well, his mama got the good looks. He gonna say, just say you wanted more meds. Mind you, we're still at the train station. I go, you just randomly leaving, you just be randomly leaving, don't even be giving me a heads up. And then he was like, I did tell you, crazy lady, earlier today, you don't be listening. I said, you told me, but I thought you were staying, then leaving early morning. I said, my bad. I said, my bad. That's what I said to him, y'all. He said, and then later, around 10, this was around 9:53, around 10:18, he texted me going, you made it home safely yet? I said, I'm at gas station, we walked home, blah, 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 blah. He then goes, dang, I'm pulling up to my stop by house now, just past, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, that's cool, that's it. Didn't, we didn't say nothing else. Here comes this morning. This is the word of manipulation really comes into play. Y'all tell me what y'all think, because this is so fucked up. I feel like so fucked up. But this is when manipulation comes into play. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I just randomly, I don't know, I was on TikTok just looking at videos. I don't know, I just randomly just thought to ask him, just to ask because we had intercourse. Mind you, I'm having intercourse at 4 weeks, not 6 weeks, but we had intercourse. So I just was like, this morning, this literally happened around 9 something this morning, you guys. I said, hey, and mind you, I already put on going live before this. But I'm like, you know what, this is so fucked up of him. I just like, you know what, I'm going to speak about this on my live. So I'm speaking about it. Like the video, by the way, you guys. So he goes, I just randomly said this. I said, hey, are you sleeping with anyone else? I'm asking because we haven't been getting along lately and we just slept together again. Also, so that was just the first message. And then I just randomly asked him this. Also, sleeping with me is not good if you're on the internet talking about me and on people's sides. That's what I said right after, because I went to his page and he still has those like posts up and people are still commenting shit. So I
Okay, so let me just back up a little bit. During this time of separation, Will has he's went live I think a couple of times, but he deleted those lives. But he's been making community posts about the situation, and people have been commenting under it. She wants him to delete all those comments. So the way she's telling this story, of course, we already know what it is. She went home last night feeling some type of way, thinking like, why didn't he stay the night? Why couldn't he stay the night? He still could have stayed the night with her and picked up the car. He must be going off with some woman because she believes that he is having relations with one woman in particular. And so I'm pretty sure she tossed and turned or was up all night with Wizzy thinking about it. So it wasn't that she was just scrolling through TikTok randomly and then the thought came to her head, hey, I slept with him. Whoa, we haven't slept with each other in a while. Maybe I should ask him, is he sleeping with other women? Come on now. What sense does that make? So here she is trying to manipulate him. Number one, she's checking the temperature. She wants to know, is he dealing with somebody else? And she also is thinking, if that's not the case, that they are building back to whatever the hell they had before, that she will have some level of control over him. Because, mind you, in the last few months of her pregnancy, they both have basically been radio silent, except for her making some goofy posts here and there. Will has been on TikTok on panels and I guess what it Kendra G's dating site and doing some other things that we haven't been privy to. So there has not been a lot going on with these two. So she is now trying to get her claws back into him so she can start manipulating him and getting what she wants out of him and giving up the booty. The other night was her parlay or her chess move into getting him to fall back in line with her program and to slickly get what she wants out of the situation. Will, on the other hand, was doing the same thing, but for different reasons, and she's getting ready to tell us what that is. Again, spoiler alert: the man filed for joint custody.
I thought to just randomly say that to add to the previous message. He off top gonna be like, not today, it's too early for this, please. Being so dismissive, like he always tries to avoid stuff. I'm not even trying to argue with him. I'm not. I'm just literally asking him a question. You can't give me a yes or a no. Like, I'm not even trying to argue with you. I just literally asked you a question. Like, so I can't just randomly ask you a question. And then he goes, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. We also have court on the 11th of May. And then I said, I'm just asking a question, not trying to argue. And I said, for visitation, I'm like, pause. There's no point of texting. Let me call him. Y'all, I call him. He's all calm and stuff. I'm like, hey, what you mean by we have court May 11th? About what? Just so I can know what it's about. He then goes, I was like, is it about visitation? And then this person can go. They're not a supporter. They're just talking shit. Okay. So I was like, is it about visitation? Like, what is it about? I was like, here's where, I mean, I don't feel like, I don't feel like threatened, but I'm like, I then go, because I sometimes, if I'm feeling some type of way, like hurt or something, what's the word? Like I've been through something in life, like I guess they would call it trauma or something that like you just been through so much in life. It's kind of like you blur it out, like it's like you block it to be regular, to feel regular. So I feel like I had one of those moments. I'm like, I didn't go, are you trying to take my son from me? How dare this fucking snake do some shit like this? Here's the manipulation. May 11th or whatever the court date I just said. I'm like, when did you do this? He goes, the last week. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this yesterday? Why didn't you tell me this when you slept with me? Why didn't you tell me this when we were at the park at the Beltline when I was trying to have a conversation with you? You could have told me that then. So you slept with me. You try to like feed your ego by trying to get in my pants. Just so you can see Wizzy when I told you you could see your son on Saturday at a public location, but instead you love to get in my pants so fucking bad. You use sex to get close, and then you didn't have the nerve to tell me in my own home after you stayed the night, and let alone the following day at the fucking we were out. He had all this time to tell me, y'all. Why would you have sex with me and you're being like you're moving like a snake, though? Yo, like if this is not manipulation, so is that even possible? Because can a court date happen that fast? Because he's saying it's on May 11th. May is right around the corner. And I haven't even got.
To answer your question, Marissa, yes. And to answer some other questions that you have that Will is ducking and dodging, like I said, I have the legal documents. Will filed the motion for custody and legitimization on April 9th. That was Thursday. That night, that evening, he went on Sheena Speaks. So head over there, listen to his interview on Sheena Speaks, because I listened to it, and he alluded to the fact that he has some things in the works. So Will is diabolical. Okay? She calls him a snake, but she knew what snake she was dealing with. She thought she could handle the snake, basically. So, in my mind's eye, what he's basically done is that he went and filed the paperwork on Thursday, went on Sheena Speaks that night to talk about it. He knew that would upset her. But they play this game, this push and pull. And he knows what she wants. What she wants more than anything is to spend family time with him. She wants them to be a family or present to be a family. That soothes her soul. All Will has to do is promise to be with her, even if it's for a day or two. It's enough for her. She can't, for some reason, let this man go, this fantasy go. He plays into this fantasy because he knows he just filed this paperwork and it's going to be served on her. She might get the service tomorrow or Tuesday, and he knows that's it. He's not going to see Wizzy probably until they go to court, and maybe something temporary is put into place. It may not be on May 11th. These things do drag out. But he knows that this was basically the last time he's going to see that boy prior to court. So he hatched a plan. He'll get some ass. He'll get to see his son. He'll get some free food. You know, he'll get quote unquote. He'll give her that family time in trade, so he can spend time with his son and get his peen wet. Basically, that's what it is. And he dragged it out into the evening till they went their separate ways at the bus station. And that's why he dropped his bomb on her. So yes, Marissa, things like this can happen very quickly. And I don't know if it was an emergency request. When I go through the paperwork, it seems to be very standard. We'll talk about the paperwork more when we finish watching her. I'll give it a few more minutes. I think she goes on a little bit longer, and a lot of it is just her ranting and giving her logical reasoning as to why this move that Will made was stupid. One thing I did look for when I was doing my my discovery mission is that I didn't see anything with her filing for child support. So Will has basically beat her to the punch. He's filing for joint custody, and it's 50-50, no child support will be ordered. Okay? More than likely, no child support will be ordered. And she has been dragging her feet, threatening him up here on the internet, acting the fool, or doing the fool, as one of my favorite content creators would say, and not handling business, not with her living situation or even this custody situation. She's been out here battling her case on the YouTube streets, the streets that don't have any love for her. She's yelling into a void. A handful of people stroke her ego to just get her attention, to appease her. And what has it gotten her? It's gotten her into a bind. Like I said in the title of this video, Marissa girl, you in trouble. in the words of Whoopi Goldberg.
Nothing yet in the mail. He's like, it's coming. So now I feel fine because I know God got me. But now I don't know if I should feel attacked. Like, is he trying to take my son from me? So he was just like, well, visitation slash what's the word? Joint custody. I'm like, do you know what joint custody means, right? That means like that means you, Bill, have our son. It's not just about visitations. You'll be able to actually have him for a certain time period, and if it came down to that. So my thing is, so he couldn't get mad at me for doing child support or trying to do the same thing because he couldn't get mad at me for that because I've been the bigger person allowing him. I said he could see his son. I said you could like I was basically saying you could see your son. I never was stopping him from the jump. He's a sneaky narcissist, y'all. He is sneaky. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. But if he think he's gonna fuck me over for 1 second, he got another thing coming. Cause I'm not one to fuck with. Okay, let's be clear. But ain't that crazy? He is moving like a snake. He is a manipulator. So you're basically trying to have sex with me. You didn't tell me this. And the moment I asked you about are you sleeping with anybody else, you then go to we have court May 11th or May whatever the date is. And it's not an issue that he did that. I don't care. If he willing to go to a court, that's hey, whatever. My thing is also though, he's doing it right now, all at his spite and going off the internet, right? Not realizing what I'm going through, meaning I'm trying to figure out things. I just had a baby and y'all know I don't know where I'm living at, meaning what if I'm not in Atlanta? So he'll just probably make it complicated if that's what he want to do. But I'm not even sure if I'm even going to be living here with our baby. What if I move out of state? I mean, I guess they can still do joint custody, but that's the thing. I'm still trying to, you know what I mean?
Okay, Marissa, you are not going to be able to do that. So I'm jumping ahead to the paperwork. In that paperwork, he got an order of standing, which means it freezes everything. Everything gets frozen. Everything has to remain the same. If this was a married couple, assets, you can't move assets around. You can't make major changes. You can't move out of state, most importantly. So Marissa is stuck in Atlanta right now. She can't pick up those kids and hightail it back to Pennsylvania, back to Pittsburgh. She can't. If she does so, she'll be in violation of the court order, and that could be a fine or jail. She can't run. So he made a boss move on her. She hasn't filed for child support. Marissa doesn't understand any of this because she didn't have to deal with this with Thomas's dad or with Momo's dad, who's MIA. But now she's got Will. Will has put that paperwork on her. He beat her to the punch. He's asserting his rights as a father, whether he is a good man, whether he's a narcissist, whether we like him or not. In the eyes of the law right now, he has a right to do what he's doing. So while she's out here, or while she's right here saying to us in the camera, I guess it's a threat to Will that she's going to hightail it out of town, she could do that. But when they catch up with her, there are going to be consequences. And one of those consequences might be that they just get an emergency order, or Will secures an emergency order to get full custody of that baby. See, what she needs to do is head on over to the mommy sector and go visit her cousin Liv from Love Live and ask her how that worked out for her with the custody of her 3 kids that she lost, that her ex-husband was able to get because of moves like this.
Me. So I don't know. I just think he's doing stuff just out of manipulation and just being a snake, y'all. Like that's just crazy to me. But I'm still gonna do what I gotta do. But my thing is Why didn't you tell me this when you were so laid up with me? Why we weren't out in public on the belt line? He's being sneaky. Like that's what I don't like that about him. Like I did not like a sneaky ass person. That's just so weird. If he was to take wisdom for a long period of time, let's say if the judge say he could have wisdom for a week, every other week, he would have to change his whole job and everything. Y'all think he's gonna do that? Change his management position, and his rent is so high. How will he be able to afford his rent where he lives on top of having that car? How's he gonna keep up with the car payment and stuff if he was to not work that job, which he's not most likely gonna do? But that doesn't necessarily mean he'll take our son just because of my living situation. I could be living in a shelter or something with our son. As long as I'm not unfit and I'm not what's the other word? I'm not unfit or I forgot the other word was. I'm not neither. And as long as we have a roof over our head, no matter where we are at. As long as we have a roof over our head, my son's not in danger. That doesn't mean he'll just take joint custody. Maybe visitation. I don't know. I don't.
What Marissa needs to understand, they're going to court for just basic custody, a basic custody agreement, which may involve what she just said, Will having the baby every other week. Now, he can do that if he has childcare set up, and I suspect that Will has been working behind the scenes. We know he has 5 baby mamas out there that love him to pieces, that maybe they're willing to take care of the baby while he's working. Who knows? But the thing is that she is not grasping the seriousness of this situation. She's just not getting it. And it's really sad because I'm not on either one of their sides. Like I said, I think they're both toxic. But if she wants to play ping pong with this baby, she's got another thing coming. Because even though I think that Will is a dummy because of the moves that he made with her, because of his ego. He's got this little pretty young thing, or what he perceives to be a pretty young thing, holding on to his coattails. He's making moves. He's making very mature moves, and she's just blowing in the wind. I don't understand. Well, I do understand. People have tried. The people who matter most to her, like her mom and maybe even her siblings, her sisters, maybe even her dad, which I'm getting that she doesn't have the greatest relationship with. They've tried to tell her this, but she refuses to listen.
Care about that. I don't have a problem with it. If he wants to do that, I don't have a problem with that. He could. I mean, it's not like I'm stopping him from seeing his son, but he's doing it out of being sneaky, y'all. It's just the point, the thought process behind it. He's just being a manipulative, sneaky snake. Like he's not communicating. He's not a good communicator. But he think he can sleep with me. Like that's just weird. You don't do people like that. Oh, definitely. He can have visitation, but again, I may not even. I don't know where I'm if I'm gonna be living here in Atlanta. So my kids are coming. I could be leaving tomorrow just because he's trying to do some sneaky shit.
You can't leave.
So because he's moving like a snake, oh, he never getting no pussy for me again.
See, she's more worried. She's more worried about giving up her cat than the consequences for her son. And we already know that's not true because last week she was saying that she would never give it up to him, and she folded like a cheap suit.
He's too sneaky for me. Why not be a man and communicate with me? Like you're being sneaky, sir. Like, and he knew I didn't want him coming over here. I told him meet me at a public location if you want to see Wizzy. He kept trying to give me his dingling. So that's proof. I'm gonna tell the judge, I'm like, Judge, he's doing this shit, but he's trying to sleep with me. But yet he wants joint custody. But he up there texting me, trying to give me some D. Knowing I just had a baby. No, I'm trying to figure out my rent situation. But again, just because of my living situation doesn't mean he could get my son taken from me. Like my kids are okay. Like
Okay, I know I had paused it before and I kind of went off on a tangent, but the reason why I paused it because she was talking about her fitness as a mom. You best believe Will has been screen recording her lives, or somebody in his, as she calls it, on his team, his followers, his supporters, the women who want him. Somebody's been screen recording these, and he has full documentation of these crazy lives that she's been having with her drinking, with her locking herself in the bathroom, her behavior with her kids. At the very least, her behavior is enough for the courts to maybe require a home study. Okay, and we all know what that house looks like. We all know what the living arrangements look like. This is worse than a CPS case, in my opinion, once these courts get involved. But she is oblivious to that. She really thinks what she's doing is okay. She really thinks that he has no standing. And if she goes in there and starts hooting and hollering about him wanting to just sleep with her, him wanting to just get her cat, and he's only doing this out of spite, that has nothing to do with this case. They're going to want just the facts. They deal with this stuff every day. And they're not going to entertain or they're not going to factor in Will wanting to sleep with her every now and again as to whether or not he should have 50-50 joint custody.
And I got everything to prove it. And I got everything to prove it. So I'm not threatened or I feel worried. It's just a principle that he's moving like a snake, y'all. And he's still trying to sleep with me on top of talking about me.
Ain't no trying. He did sleep with you.
He went to court last week. So he must have did that as soon as I mentioned it, y'all. And then he must have did that also before he did that interview with that lady. See, he's moving like a snake. After I've been cool as fuck, allowing him to see his son. I never had issue with him seeing his son from the jump. And this is how he moving. The least I could get is you telling me, sir, having an adult conversation and not have sex with me. He could have said, hey, I need to talk with you. Right?
But Marissa, you did not have to have sex with him. He did not force you to have sex with him. She's acting like he pressured her into doing something she did not want to do. She has agency. She can advocate for herself. If she did not want to lay down with that man, she did not have to. The reason why she did it was because she wanted to, and she knew that was a way to get him over into her house. Again, to get him to come over and play house with her, even if it was for 48 hours. She traded in her self-worth, her pride, her body, her time, just so she can get Will back in her clutches. They have laid with each other many a times. I don't know what new tricks that she thinks she's going to pull on this man. He might like it, but he doesn't like it enough that he wants to marry it or move it into his house. You don't have the magic coochie, Marissa. You just don't. And then on top of this whole act that you guys are you trying to be a reasonable person, we all know that's not true. Let somebody say the wrong thing in your chat and you go off. You have video documentation that you put out here on the internet showing how you two get down when you guys argue. You know, he stands there and eggs you on and you just flip out. So don't act like that he could have reasonably came to you and said, I filed for joint custody. You would have flipped out on him. And again, he wouldn't have seen Wizzy. I'm not saying what he did was right. You know, he could have still came over and spent time with the child without sleeping with Marissa. But he's a man. He's going to try it. And is he a bum for that? Most definitely. Nobody's denying that. She likes to think that everybody's on Will's side. We see it. We see that he's a snake. We've been seeing that he's a snake. But you go up for that snake when we try to tell you. And when Will comes on live or goes on panels, just go over to Sheena Speaks. Go look at the chat. They light into him too. Because he knew what he was getting. He knows what he got for a baby mama. And he's over there playing dumb, like he just got caught up. That man is what, 47 years old. He knows what he's doing. He's a 5-time father, now 6-time father. Just like Marissa, they both knew what they were doing. So neither one of them are innocent. Neither one of them has standing to go in on either person. But the law is the law. I'm not advocating for that child to be taken away from Marissa. I don't always agree with how she treats Momo and Thomas. I really do think at her core that she loves these kids. I honestly do. You know, it's her mothering standards up to what I would consider to be good mothering standards? No, in no way. But that's just me. But in a world where there's severe abuse out there and severe neglect, the courts, the family courts, CPS, they're overwhelmed. And their main thing is family reunifications or to keep families together. So if she loses custody of Wizzy, which Will is asking for joint custody, he's not asking for full custody. They're going to try to maintain the relationship with Marissa. She just has to cooperate, and that's just not in her. Will is defiant too, but he's calculated, and he has a few more brain cells than Marissa. And he knows that this is the one thing that really would get under her skin. I don't know what the situation is with his other kids. I know he says he has a relationship with them. I believe him. But he also admits too that it wasn't always easy. And he's at a point in his life where he's willing to give up a little bit of his narcissistic space to add Wizzy to that, because that's a part of him. That's a part of his world. And he wants to really, I guess, buckle down and have some impact on this child's life, because Marissa alone, it's going to be an uphill climb, an uphill battle. He sees what's happening with Momo. He sees what's happening with Thomas. And to be quite honest, it's sad. It's sad that we're at this point, that they couldn't co-parent. But I think from day one, when it was confirmed that she was pregnant, and he accepted that he was a father, even without a paternity test, that he knew that he was going to have to get at least joint custody. But there's one thing that Will has to be prepared for. And this is basically, it's the ball's in his court. If she refuses to comply, he may end up with full custody. And Marissa has lost custody of a child before. She lost custody of Thomas for a time. So she knows. She knows what this looks like. I think she lost custody in a different way. But now that the courts are involved from day one, it's a whole different story. So let's get into the court documents. And I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going to show them because they need to be redacted if I do show them. But I do have an audio clip, and I was going to add it to the end of this video, but we're already an hour and a half into this video, and I don't want to drag it out. I'll do that as a separate upload, so you can go and listen to it. If I get that done tonight, I'll make sure I link it in this video. But just to give you an overview, he filed all the legal documentation, not just for custody, but for legitimization. In other words, paternity. In those documents, Will is requesting the baby's name, the last name, to be changed to his name. In those documents, he is requesting every other week from Monday to Sunday. So for the first and third, or the second and fourth, I can't remember. It might be the second and fourth week of each month. He wants Wizzy. He also wants, he's asking that she, of course, she would have Wizzy during spring break, and then he would have Wizzy in the summer. I believe that's a standard custody schedule in the state of Georgia. So he's basically set it up down that way. And then it breaks out into how the holidays are going to be split up, and odds and even years, and even for birthdays. It's very detailed. There's also a stipulation that the custody exchanges happen in an agreed upon public space. and there's a 20-minute window. In other words, if a parent fails to show up within those 20 minutes, they forfeit their visitation for that week. So, for example, if Marissa is late picking Wizzy up for the designated spot, Will can keep Wizzy for the rest of the week. Or if Will doesn't show up to pick up Wizzy for the designated time, Marissa will keep him for that week. Now, the dicey part comes if she doesn't show up. Now, they say in the paperwork if that happens, then immediately, if the court order is granted, standard in the recording that I will upload will go into detail about this. They will at least do kind of they'll either try to communicate with each other, which probably will not be possible, or do some sort of mediation regarding problems with the visitation. Other than that, the courts will step in. And we know that Marissa is a habitual line stepper. Will gives me vibes that he's going to, as she say, manipulate her by sticking to the letter of the law. So whatever's in the paper, Will is going to stick to it because he knows that she can't. Marissa's only hope at this point is for, I guess, Will to drop the case. I don't know how she's going to convince him to do that because she is manipulating his time with the baby. I understand that the baby's only a month old. I would feel some type of way about my child for long periods of time being away from me. But Will is intimating that in these early stages, he was just only asking for, maybe a few hours here and there and bringing him back, and she wouldn't even let him do that. Now he has to go to the extreme. And probably by the time this is all settled, Wizzy might be walking. He might be walking. Who knows? Okay? And until it's finalized, maybe temporarily he'll get, time with Wizzy. I think I saw in the papers that supervised visitation, maybe during the time where paternity is being established and it's working its way through the court, that there's a supervised visitation, whereas, they'll meet up and in a supervised location, whether it's her house or her house, by one of them, which is not going to work. I think that is just a formality of the paperwork. But most importantly, that order of standing, the standing order, says that Marissa can't make any kind of moves. Interestingly, too, within the paperwork that I saw, Will filed for papacy, I believe it's called. Basically, he said he's indigent. That they waived the filing fees, I guess, because financially he's strapped. Now, he likes to come on here and talk a big game, that he's a baller. He gets things done. He's moving and shaking. He's got a new 2026 truck, all this, that, and the other stuff. Well, that man is living well above his means. He's barely making it. That's what that $600 was probably about. Like we all speculated, to pay that car payment or to pay his rent. Or hell, to even put groceries in his house. He has obligations that far exceed, they're touching up very closely to what he's making a month, and he's not making a lot. Again, I'm not putting out that amount. It is public information. If you want to go search and find it, you can. And there may be somebody who's willing to put that information out. But the gist of it is that Marissa, girl, again, you're in danger. And I say that because this is what you did not want. Is it a dangerous situation? No, because I don't think Will would do any harm to this baby. But you can't use children as a football. I mean, the same thing could have happened with Momo's dad if he was interested. When you start going after for child support and the father wants to be involved, that spins out a custody case. And just an FYI for those who don't know, custody and child support are handled separately. They don't go hand in hand. Even if she had, full custody and he had visitation, if he wasn't paying child support, he still would have rights to those days for visitation. She would have to pursue the lack of child support through, I believe, Georgia's Attorney General's office. I think most states the Attorney General handles the child support. Um, Again, if you want um, a good story, if you're not already familiar, or if you want to follow a case where a mom behaved similar to Marissa and lost custody of her kids, check out Love Live. I hate to give her a shout out, but it's the textbook case of someone who's acting out like Marissa has, who eventually lost it all. In other words, she lost custody of 3 kids, and she does have to pay child support. It's not joint custody. Her ex husband has physical custody. He can make decisions on those kids. He does not have to confer with her. And on top of that, he gets child support from her. And that woman is over there going crazy. And if this happens to Marissa, I can see what's going on with Liv 10 times as worse with Marissa. 10 times. Wow. It's been an interesting day. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Her live goes on. I believe it's like I think it's crazy. I think that live, let me just check real quick. I can't remember. Yeah, that live is 5 hours long. She was on for 5 hours. I may just fall asleep listening to the rest of it. If I have anything else to add, I will make sure I include my commentary in the follow up upload, where, like I said, my legal team, or my legal consultants over there at Gemini Gemini has kind of broken down the documents. I just have to go through and edit it because it reveals, like I said, some information, some sensitive information that I don't think I don't feel comfortable with sharing. But I do want you guys to hear the breakdown and the gist of what they're saying. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. I hope you stuck around to the end. I know this was, like I said, a pretty long video. But if you're not familiar with Marissa, she can be very dry sometimes. You might not get the fascination, but hopefully what you just saw here kind of gets the ball rolling for you to stick around. And, excuse me, I hope this gets the ball rolling and you stick around and follow us content creators that are covering her, because she is an interesting case. And if you are familiar with her, then we're in for a journey, because we're entering in what I call a new season. The new season to her saga. She's changed the channel name, so I guess we can call this season Vibing in Real Time, The Custody Wars. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting a little loopy here. I'm going to go ahead and end this video again. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you have a great day. Until the next time I upload. Peace out. Later. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like what I'm doing here and you made it this far, at least consider liking the video. And please consider subscribing. Bye now.